Am I seriously doing this to myself? Welcome back to my channel, and as you've probably seen in the title, I am doing a spend less year. So what is a spend less year? It's basically my take on the no buy, no spend, low buy, low spend challenge that quite a few people have done both on YouTube, Instagram, in their own personal lives, blogs, all of the above. So essentially what it is it's a spend less. So I'm not going to necessarily say no buy, and I'm not going to say low buy. It's the concept of spending less, of being mindful with my money, about making my money work for me rather than wondering what happened to it, which has been a trend that I have experienced a lot previously. So here's a little backstory. Originally, although I would have never said I was frivolous with money, it didn't really stick around for too long. And a lot of the times I felt like I was living paycheck to paycheck. And when bills rolled around, it was that panic to scrape together enough money to pay for it. Even though both me and my boyfriend, now husband, both had jobs. In fact, one of those jobs was a very well-paying job. But at the same time, he was sometimes in and out of work. So we would save up money, and then when he was out of work, we would lose it again. But on top of that, we bought things without thinking. We didn't make our money work for us. We ran it by this idea that you could always make more money. Then we made a big life-changing decision where my husband Ryan took a job that was less pay but more happiness, which is what you want out of life. You want to enjoy your job. You don't want to be doing it just for the dollar. But that change did not result in a change in our lifestyle. And for that, we ended up in a situation where we were on the top of a slippery slope that could have and would have ended up with many an issue. We made the decision to join My Budget, though we were worried, and the idea of needing help with your money seems so embarrassing. We obviously were not the first people to do that, or the last. And if you are in that spot and you need that extra helping hand, I recommend giving something like that a try. And we got back on track. So we stayed with My Budget for a year and then made the decision to split from them, which did in fact save us more money, but it also taught us where we were going wrong with our money. So when we first went in for My Budget, we were shocked to realize how much money was not accounted for when we looked at what we purchased and what we bought, how much money we spent on certain things. There was a large portion that was not accounted for. And that was money that simply, falls down the faucet, to say, slips through the fingers, a coffee here, a sandwich here, a lipstick there, those type of costs which are not budgeted and you don't think are that much, but in reality they add up and build and build and build. So though we weren't having huge things, we had things that we enjoyed and we had fun, we had a couple cars, things like that, but there was all this money that didn't account because it didn't go to all those things. What we had purchased we could afford, but we had this money that it just disappeared. Once we were back on track and we actually started to account for that money and we had a budget and we stuck by it, which we still follow. And if you are interested in hearing more about my budgeting, budgeting, how we handle our cash, etc. now, please let me know down in the comments, because I would be quite happy to do more videos on that stuff. But we actually were able to save up enough of a deposit to purchase our first home. Plus, on top of that, I would say at this point, we have been more financially secure than we have been ever before. And our money has started to work for us rather then, disappear. We are telling our money where to go rather than it just disappearing or going where it wants. But there is still room for improvement. And that is why I'm taking this step. I thought about taking it previously in the past, but I didn't. Basically, there was no reason because we had started to budget and I didn't want to be more frugal than I thought I already was. But we have got to this point now where there is money, only though it is essentially a budgeted amount of money, but it is still falling down the drain. So every week I get an allowance, as does Ryan, which is to go towards our groceries, petrol for the cars, and then anything else that we do, such as nights out, drinks, movie tickets, those type of things. Now we both separately get 2 different amounts, and it is also because we live in 2 different locations. That's why all our groceries do not come out of one set budget, they're 2 separate budgets. So I get this a certain amount of money, which I'll tell you now is $200 a week. Once I take away my groceries, which are normally $50 a week, we are still looking at $150 in a week. That at times just disappears. That less than 3 days, 4 days, 5 days into the week, I do not have. And it is time for me to take control of that amount of money, because that is money that I could be using to better suit my life, my lifestyle, my wants, my needs, my future goals. What is my end goal? My end goal is I want to free up this money so that I can put it towards things like experiences, trips, holidays, adventures, those type of things. I want to have more play money in the aspect of experiences, trips, things with friends, those memory creating activities, rather than money that is going to stuff like a takeaway coffee a day, which when I work 5 days a week, sometimes 6, and I will buy at least one coffee a day, which is $5.90 Australian. So $5.90 a day for 5 days, sometimes 6. Then there are days when I spend 2 coffees a day. That in itself is probably where my money is going. And there are better ways that I could be spending my money rather than buying a takeaway coffee. Plus, on top of that, in regards to sustainability, there is definitely better options that I could be doing in that circumstance. So those things have led me down this path. This is something I did think about doing previously, as I mentioned, but I decided not to because I wasn't ready to take that step. But now I think I'm ready. We have moved so far along on our financial journey that taking that extra step to be frugal in some aspects to ensure that I can have more at other times is a really good step for me to take. So as I said, I'm not the first person to do these. And as you might have seen in my December recap of my monochromatic year book edition, I recently read A Year of Less. And that has definitely spurred me on to make this decision, because there is many moments in my life where I think, oh, I like that, and I make the decision not to get it, generally because of price. But the thing is though, there are moments like that I make these decisions, like I think, oh, I like that makeup palette, but it's $20, I won't buy it. Or I like those jeans, but it's $25, I won't buy it. So I don't. But then I spend money on other things such as 2 coffees a day, and in-app purchases for app games that I'm playing on my phone, and things like that really are just as bad and add up really quickly, and you don't realize how quickly $2 here, $5 here adds up to $50, $100, $200, which I was shown purely in when I did my Melbourne Secret Sale unboxing recently. I was sure when I was figuring out those prices and adding them into the editing onto the video that I thought, how can this item's only $3, this item's only $2, am I going to reach the amount that I even paid? And not only did I meet it, I surpassed it by quite a lot. And I was rather shocked considering that 90% of those items were all under $5. So it shows just how quickly those little amounts can add up to big amounts, that money so quickly can disappear. It's like when you go to a sale and you buy these items and they're only a few dollars each, but how quickly that can skyrocket into big bucks. And most of those items, did you really want them? Did you really need them? Or are you getting them purely because they're on sale? So some of the YouTubers on top of that I have followed along on their no buys that have encouraged me, I will link down below. But I will like to mention Hailey Evans and Jessica Lee. So Hailey Evans did a no buy year and she purchased nothing at all and has grown dramatically from it. And that has definitely encouraged me further to take this step. While Jessica Lee has done 3.5 years of not buying any makeup, though she is a makeup lover and a makeup purchaser, shopper. So it just shows you that it is possible and this is doable. And for me to make these steps is not a punishment, but it is going to be something that I'm going to be rewarded with later in the future. Be that in holidays, experiences, time with friends, or even the big things like purchasing a new house. So how will this spend less year affect me? Overall, it won't. And that's the truth. Overall, it isn't going to affect me negatively. Yes, it means that I will not purchase that takeaway coffee. I'll make my own. And yes, I will not be buying a ton of new makeup, but I have makeup and I have quite a lot of it. So it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't negatively affect me in any way. In fact, it will save me in the long run. Now, like I said, I am married. I'm in a relationship, which means that there are 2 of us. Technically, there are actually 4 of us if you include the dog and the bird, but they don't really have much of a say when it comes to the finances. But there are 2 of us who have a say. And I have made this decision. That is why majority of these rules will only be affecting me and my budget, my allocation of money. Because 1, Ryan has not made that decision to go on to a no buy, and 2, it is not fair of me to impose these rules on him that he is not in himself wanting to take on. In saying that, this experience will also positively affect him, and in some aspects it may cross over and he may choose to follow some of these rules, or it may just happen organically. But he has not made that decision to have a spend less year in the aspects of this specific no buy. But in saying that, it is our overall goal as a couple, as a joint unit, as a family, that we will save money to ensure that we can do things in the future. Though most of my rules are written as if hard-nosed, there are exemptions on most aspects. So I'll tell you the rule and then the exemption that does affect it. And also, these rules are numbered. The number is not really of significance. They're not in any particular order. It's just how they popped into my head. Rule 1. No books, magazines, DVDs, or CDs. Exemption. University textbooks. 2. No phone apps or in-app purchases. 3. No stationery. Exemption, replacements only. 4. No makeup or skincare. Exemption, replacements only and any items I'm purchasing specifically for my YouTube, which I do not do very much of. In fact, I haven't done any of that in the past. However, at the end of last year, I did purchase 2 items after Christmas as part of a Christmas sale to review on my channel, which you will see those unboxings coming up at some point in the near future. Now, that is not something I do very often, and I'm quite happy with that purchase and the outcomes of that purchase. But I do want to put that exemption in there just in case something like this comes up again. I don't want to say hard no and then be left in a situation where I thought where it would have been useful to have that exemption. Rule 5, no takeaway coffee. Exemption, coffee dates with friends. The reason why I'm putting that as an exemption, because the term takeaway coffee implies taking coffee to go and not drinking coffee in a cafe, etc. The reason I did put the exemption of coffee dates with friends is because in 2020, with the COVID and all of the lockdowns and the restrictions that come in place because of that, there's things occurred like you had to have takeaway coffee from our cafes. You couldn't sit in the cafe and drink it, you had to get it and take it away. So I wanted to put that exemption in about coffee dates with friends, because then I can go in, get a takeaway coffee with them and go and sit at another location. But what I will not be doing is getting takeaway coffee for me. My workplace is attached to a cafe, which means that, like I said, $5.90 at least once every day goes to takeaway coffee, which is ridiculous, especially because my work location not only has that cafe, but we have a lunchroom complete with a kettle. So for me, I was choosing the easier option, but spending $5.90 a day, and I do not want to be doing that anymore. So rule 5, no takeaway coffee. Rule 6 is also in line with that, no on-the-go food. This mostly refers to work lunches. I have got into the habit of purchasing lunch every day instead of bringing my own lunch to work. Like I said, my workplace is attached to a cafe, and not only that, there are some takeaway food locations quite close by. So I do not want to do that anymore. I would like to bring my lunch to work every day. But also on top of that, I don't want to get the 3 p.m.itis and jump over to the cafe for maybe a muffin, or to the close by kiosk that's also attached to my workplace and get myself a chocolate bar. I don't want to do that. I want to stop those purchases. So no on-the-go food. No subscriptions. Exemption, Netflix and Disney Plus. Also, I did include an exemption for a food subscription, such as HelloFresh. That's the one, HelloFresh. Though I do not think that will end up occurring because our location is not included on the list where HelloFresh delivers. So I do not think we will be getting one of those, but that is something that we have looked at. So I will still include food/diet subscription on the exemption list, but I'm not sure if that is something that will happen. But Netflix and Disney Plus currently we still have. But I've put no subscriptions on there because, like I said previously, I used to have Audible, and in the past I've had Spotify Premium. So those are 2 exemptions I have previously removed from my life, and I do not want to go back that step and get them at this point for 2021. If I change my mind in the future, I do, but right now there are better options. Rule 8 is no clothes and no accessories. Exemption is replacements and work-related clothing. I've put it as work-related clothing because I work in a library we tend to do things like dress-up days. So I do need to sometimes purchase clothes for activities, but they are work related. So those are allowed, but me purely popping into Kmart because I can and purchasing a new t-shirt is not going to happen. I do not need to do that. Though if my jeans get destroyed and I need a new pair of jeans, yes, I need them. But overall, I've got enough nice dresses in my cupboard. I've got enough clothing, pants, t-shirts, all those type of things that it should last me the whole year. But I have said replacements allowed because at times you've got to replace things. 9 is no jewelry. 10 is no shoes, exemption, replacements, and new netball sneakers or new netball shoes. My old shoes are starting to be a bit not good, and I want to make sure that though I don't want to be overly spending money, I want to be spending money in necessary places, which means my ankle safety, my ability to play netball to the safest possible way. 11 is limited junk food. 12 is no perfume. Exemption, replacements only. However, to be honest with you, considering the number of perfumes I currently own, I do not think I'll need to use this exemption at all in the next 12 months. No seasonal decor. None at all. I do not need any. I have got enough Christmas holiday stuff, and overall, where I live, the seasons are not as pronounced as other locations. And seasonal decor is not something that we really do or follow, but I have been known sometimes to fall into the trap of, oh, look at that really cute X. It would be great because it's this season, say Easter, etc., Halloween, those type of things. And I do not want to purchase any of that stuff because it is unnecessary. No home decor. Exemption, except when it comes to home renos. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is I do not want to buy home decor for the sake of buying home decor. I do not want to be in a shop, for example, and I see something and I think, oh, that would look really cute. If it is something that I think will suit our home renos, our plans, it will be put on a list. It will be put on a, hey, what do you think of this list? To then be purchased later. It is not something I need to buy spur of the moment, then have it sitting around at home, then figure out that actually that will not match what we're doing. I want to spend, in regards to the home renos, we want to spend money smartly. I do not want to be buying things and having it pile up to later go to this and then it either A, never go to that, or B, go bad, get broken, damaged, etc., sitting and waiting for something that may not occur. So I want all pennies that are spent on home renos and home refurbishing, those things, to be smart spends. So that is my no list, or my strict rules list. But continuing on from this, I have a yes list. Things that I can buy without question as such. These include 1, groceries, 2, petrol, 3, experiences such as cinema, dinners with friends, concerts, wine tours, those type of things. Now, this is where I say no questions asked. What I mean is, though there are not limited, it needs to still be smart purchasing. If I cannot afford to go to the cinema tonight, or if I cannot afford to purchase that wine tour, then I will not. But if it comes up and I can afford it within my budget, within my money, then I will. 4, travel and trips. This is very much the same concept. If I can afford it, I will. Do not want to put myself in debt to do it, but I do not want to say no to these things if I can fit them within my budget. 5 is medical and health. I think that really that is one of those things that shouldn't have to be explained, but I have put it on here because medical and health to me does not just include things such as doctor's visits, medical bills in that aspect, pills, etc. But it would also include, you know, dietary supplements if needed, vitamins if needed, osteo, chiropractor, physiotherapy, those type of things if I need them. But none of that stuff is restricted, obviously, as long as I can afford it within my budget, but none of those stuff is restricted. Pet supplies. Like I've said before, I've got a bird, a dog, and a fish. And they also did not make the decision to go into this no-buy. So their needs will obviously be met because I want to ensure that they are living their best life. 7 is gifts. 8, almost unnecessary, bills. Obviously, my bills, they got to be paid. 9 is phone and internet. Now, moving on from phone and internet, I've also got number 10 as a new iPhone and a smartwatch. My iPhone is starting to have issues. It is starting to age, and we had spoken about getting a smartwatch around Christmas time, but at that point we made the decision to hold off on doing it until later in the year, and possibly looking at purchasing 2 new phones and 2 smartwatches. So that is something that is on my all good list because we have previously discussed it, and it will not be occurring until we can afford to do it. Also further to that, I have got coffee machine on my list. So our current coffee machine has started to leak, is causing us some troubles, but it is still doing the job. So even though I've put it on the list, it might not be something that happens anytime soon because we are still quite happy with it. But if we get to a point where it fully breaks down, or we find a coffee machine that we like, that is of reasonable price, we can afford it at the time, and it's available, we will purchase it. 12 is hair services. If you can't tell, I get my hair done, and it is normally not just a little trim and a little bit of highlight. I like to go all out. I like to change the color up. I like to do different things. And though I only did my hair, I think, twice last year, I would like the option to be able to do it because it is of importance to me. Yes, for others that may come across as a bit of a frivolous kind of expenditure, but it is of importance to me, and like I said previously, this is not a punishment. Further to that is also beauty services. That includes things like waxing, pedicures, things like that. I haven't put a restriction on those items. I do not overly spend money in that area, but I like to be able to do it when I would like to do it. House renos. Like I said, we want to renovate our house. We will be starting with the bathroom. Also, if you would like to follow along on that journey, please let me know and I will look at the options in regards to doing videos on such things. So please let me know if you're interested in our renovation journey. Let me know in the comments below. But renovations, they are an all good list. But in saying that, like I said earlier, I want to be smart spending with that money. I've also put down gym membership ? Because currently I do not have a gym membership. I have in the past, but I haven't got one at the moment. But with the whole new year, new me, jokes, I'm kidding. But with this ideas and what I want to see from myself in the future, maybe I might like to get a gym membership again. And I guess in the line of exercise, I've also put netball registrations down. So I play netball, I enjoy playing netball, and I do not want to give that up. So my netball registrations or any other costs associated with netball, which there overall are not that many, but any costs related to that are okay. So that is my rule list, but I will also add in regards to gifts that have been given to me, including gift cards. So I will be accepting gifts in the regular manner. I'm not going to be turning that stuff down. And also in regards to gift cards, if I have received a gift card, I'm allowing that to be spent on whatever I would like it to be spent on. When I get a gift card, I'm really thingy about spending it. I do not want to spend it on something that isn't going to bring meaning anyway because of the fact that it was a gift, and I like to spend that stuff on things that will mean a lot to me. So I tend to hold on to gift certificates almost on the verge of being too long, until I find something that I truly love anyway. So that is what gift certificates will be spent on. In saying that, as a few people I have watched do similar videos have mentioned, reality is when you spend a gift certificate, you normally go slightly over the gift certificate. So any costs associated with that, as long as that it's not, for example, if it's a gift certificate for a clothing store and I purchase 2 items of clothing and one of those items of clothing is paid half with the gift certificate and half by me, that's fine. But I wouldn't say go and buy, have a gift certificate, buy 3 items of clothing, have one paid full by the gift certificate, one paid half by the gift certificate, one by and half by me, and one full by me. That is not my goal. So if it means I have to spend slightly over to cover the items and use the gift certificate in its entirety, that is okay, but I will not be then purchasing a lot of additional items on top of that. So those are my main rules. I hope that all of that made sense, because I feel at this moment it still seems quite overwhelming, quite a lot of can do this, can't do this, yes, no, maybe. I guess the main thing to take into consideration from this, from my point of view, is I will not be buying things I do not need. That is my main goal. I want to use up what I have before I purchase new things, and I want to make sure my money is going to things that bring me joy, more than just a second of joy, just another life in an in-app game. I want it to give me memories and long-lasting joy. So I will be doing monthly videos to discuss how I'm going, any issues, any thoughts, any feelings, and if there's anything specific you would like me to discuss, let me know down in the comments below, because I'll be quite happy to go into anything that you would like to hear more about. And I'm going to see how I go. It might be something at some point. We're going to go through to mid-year, and at the 6-month mark, I will be reviewing my current rules, reviewing how much it has or hasn't saved me, reviewing whether I'm happy with the rules or whether I want to change them up. I'm going to be doing a full review of how my spend less year is going. So really, that is all this video is to do, is to say Happy New Year, welcome to the year, for me, of spending less. I want to free up money to be spent on experiences and trips. I know that trips overall are not something that we can do massive amounts of during this time of Corona, and you know, we would be silly to think that 2021 was a cut and COVID no longer exists, because it does, and it is something that will affect us going forward. So that does mean that I won't be going on massive trips overseas anytime soon, but luckily at this current moment, we can still travel around South Australia. In fact, at the end of last year in November, Ryan and I went and stayed in a glamping experience in Marion Bay, which is in South Australia. And it was an amazing week. We had so many great experiences, and that was right in my own backyard. So that is something that I am looking to do more of in the coming years to come. I want to enjoy my own backyard. Yes, I want to go overseas. Yes, I want to experience so many things that I cannot experience within my own area, but I still want to look around me and experience things around me. I don't want to put off having these experiences while I still can have them. So really, that is basically where we are at this point. I have been talking for so long, I feel like my voice is about to give up on me. So I think we are going to end it there. If there's anything you would like to know more about, would like me to discuss more in a video, show you, talk about, if you want to see more of the numbers side of things, let me know. With that, that is all I have for you now. So I'm Verity. That was the introduction to my Spend Less Year 2021, and now to the outro.